How's it going, everyone? King Blacktooth here. So welcome to these small bite-sized chunk tutorials, mainly aimed at beginners. We will ramp the difficulty and the strategy up as we go along in these small bite-sized videos. So maybe down the line, if this is not the video for you, you'll find something which is important for you as we ramp the strategy up. So since this is our first video, we're going to go over just what a game of Gwent looks like, what is the flow of the game, and what's happening as the game progresses. And we're going to go into a lot of other things. I'll probably say the line, we'll go into that in more detail in a different video, quite a lot in this particular video. The Gwent is a digital card game and it's free to play. And it's currently in closed beta at the recording of this video, but it will see an open beta. So if you can't get in, even though there are keys floating around, there are giveaways going on for closed beta keys. If you can't get in, open beta will allow you access to play it yourself. So before you get into a game, you've got to build a deck, and we'll get into deck building in a different video. But you're going to build a deck out of one of the 5 current factions, more factions to be included. And when you've built your deck, you're ready for a game of Gwent. So when a game of Gwent begins, you'll be presented with the leader cards. So these are cards that you chose when you were building your deck, and you'll always have access to these at the beginning of the game and all the way throughout, but you can only use it once throughout the game. Okay? So your opponent can see your leader card, and you can see the opponent's. And this is going to give you a glimpse into what kind of strategy they're going for. So use that information when you're going through the redraw phase, which is coming up next. Next, you'll have the redraw phase. You draw 10 cards from your deck, and these are going to generally be the 10 cards that you're going to play the entire game with. There are a couple more cards to come, but most of the time, this is the 10 cards that you've got to win the whole game of Gwent with. You get a chance to redraw 3 of these to try and get the most optimal hand. Anything you don't necessarily want in your hand, try and get rid of, and stuff like that. There's more advanced techniques to the mulligan phase, the redraw phase, and we'll go on to that in a different video. So after the redraw phase, you'll be presented with the game board, as you can see here. Now this is simply split up into your side of the board and your opponent's side of the board. You've got your cards down the bottom, the opponent's at the top, and you've got a graveyard each and a deck each in case you're pulling cards out of your deck with certain abilities. So the coin will flip and decide whose turn it is to go first, and whoever's turn it is to go first will have to place 1 card. Now there isn't any mana in Gwent, there isn't any land cost to play in cards. All cards can be played at any point in the game, even gold, silvers or bronzes or any type of card can be played at any point. But the thing is, it's your turn and you can only place 1 card per turn. So after you've placed 1 card down, and only 1 card, it is now your opponent's turn and he can place 1 card down. And it goes back and forth. You take turns placing 1 card onto the board. Now the aim to win a round of Gwent, just a round, is to get the highest strength on your side of the board. So if you look to the left of the rows, there's strength indicated by how many cards you've put onto the board. And at the very bottom on the left, it shows your total strength. And on the top left, it shows your opponent's total strength. Now the aim is to have higher total strength than your opponent when you both decide, I've had enough of round 1, let's go on to round 2. And whoever has the highest wins that particular round. So you keep placing cards, 1 turn each, 1 card each, until somebody decides they want to pass. Because don't forget, you've got 10 cards in your hand plus your leader. You're going to get a couple later, but that's pretty finite. So you have to stretch these cards to win 2 of the 3 rounds. You can't waste everything in round 1. So when you've decided you don't want to play round 1 anymore, you can choose to pass. And you do this by holding the coin on the left or some shortcut on your keypad or controller. So after you've decided to pass, you're basically saying, I don't want to play any more cards in this particular round. I want to go on to the next one, which means you can't place anything else on the board now. You can't do anything to the board yourself. Now your opponent hasn't passed yet, so he's got 2 options. He can either pass himself, in which case you've both passed. The winner is decided based on who's got the highest strength, and then you go on to the next round to try and win that one. Or he can place as many cards as he wants. So this may seem a bit crazy. Obviously, he can place as many cards as he wants and beats your total strength. But don't forget, he's only got a finite amount of cards as well, and he needs to be able to win the next 2 rounds or next round as well. So he can't spend all his cards, and that's where the strategy comes in. You can't really spend all of your cards to win a round because you won't have enough to win 2 out of 3. And this is where losing is not really detrimental. Sometimes if your opponent spends too many cards, you can still win. So if the opponent does pass, you go on to the next round and you fight again, 1 card per turn, trying to get the highest total strength. So when both players have passed and you're moving on to a new round, in most cases, Most cards will go into their respective graveyards. There are some exceptions. Won't get into that now. And then, at the beginning of round 2, both players draw 2 cards from their deck back into their hand. So whoever won the first round will have to go first in the second round. And again, you take it in turns, playing 1 card each, trying to get the highest total strength on your side of the board.
As a poison. Scoia'tael, attack! Scoia'tael, attack!
Until both players have passed in round 2, and then you move on to round 3. All cards get wiped from the board into their graveyards, and then you start round 3. At the beginning of round 3, both players draw 1 more card from their deck to their hand. Okay, so you draw 10 cards at the beginning with a redraw phase, and then at the beginning of round 2 you draw 2 more cards, and at the beginning of round 3 you draw 1 more card. And then this is the final round, so you place all of your remaining cards, one each, taking turns, until someone has come out victorious. When you've run out of cards, you automatically pass. So that's it for a game of Gwent. This video might have gone on a little longer than expected, but hopefully now you know how a simple game of Gwent progresses. You both take 1 turn, play 1 card each, to try and get the highest total strength on your side of the board, until you both decide to pass and move on to the next round. There's 3 rounds in total, and you've got to win 2 of those 3 rounds. Simple as that. Win 2 of the 3 rounds by getting the highest total strength, and you've won. Thanks for watching this small bite-sized video tutorial. We're going to move on to cards next time. What information is on the card, and what type of cards are there? Bronze, silver, gold, specials, units, things like this. A lot of terminology, but I think this is probably quite a simple one as well. Thanks for watching, and take care. I'll see you again very soon.